After being announced forever ago, Biomutant is finally available. In this game, you play as one of many mutated animals that have adapted to the now very, very polluted planet Earth. In spite of its striking art style and really cool premise, Biomutant was met with some pretty bad reviews. So in this video, we're going to talk about some of the things that Biomutant does well. Some things that might actually make it worth playing if you just kind of focus on these things. So if you're the kind of person who's looking for reasons to play Biomutant, this is just the video for you. And if you'd like to hop around this video, make sure you check the description below for all the chapters. They're laid out nice and neat. And that brings us to the first thing that I liked about Biomutant, which is the game's world and the exploration as well. Starting with the open world itself, the game features a very vibrant and diverse landscape. In spite of the planet being essentially dead, it's actually thriving in a lot of other ways. There's a gigantic tree in the center of the map, and there are roots that sprawl out of it that are just huge and makes for a really striking image. And although the world is set in a realistic future, it seems very surreal, like something that would come out of Lord of the Rings with the size of these tree branches and the animals you'll face as well. So imagination is just set to 11 with this game, and the world really reflects that. I found it especially interesting when the game showed you an area that was flooded with oil and your character can't survive there, but there are other animals that can. So it was just really interesting to see how the world survives and how the animals move on after our huge mistake of ruining things with pollution. And in my opinion, the environment does a much better job of telling the game's story than the narrator themselves. I don't need a disembodied voice to tell me that the world was ruined by a giant corporation with pollution. That's evident in the fact that the world is flooded with oil and animals can now talk. Clearly something went wrong, and clearly it was caused by chemicals over a long period of time. Exploring areas like abandoned houses and sewers really do lead to beneficial gains as new items pop up and new weapons pop up, but also it's just really interesting to see how these places look after they've been long abandoned and re-inhabited by animals. And that actually brings us to the second thing I think Biomutant does really well, and that is the game's character creation as well as character customization. While you explore the game's locales and areas, you're going to find items that help you and aid in your ability to grow and attack and fight your way through this world. But what I found really interesting is that you'll find little pieces here and there that not only upgrade your armor, but they also give you the ability to change how your character looks as the game goes on. One of my favorite things in video games, period, is getting armor and improving that armor, and eventually you can just see your character's path, like they got certain pieces of armor from certain places, and Biomutant does just that. It lets you upgrade your armor and remember, oh yeah, that's the shoulder pad I found in that one sewer that one time. And now I'm wearing it 20 hours later in the game, but I have this piece from the beginning. Stuff like that really sits well with me, and I think it does a great job of telling a character's story and a player's journey as well. And finally, when it comes to the character creation itself, you're given the ability to change your character stats when you first create them. This is typical for any RPG. Of course, you can pick your starting build, but what I liked most is that your character reflects the stats that you choose to start off with. So if you make a character with higher intellect, their head's gonna be really big. If you make a character that's really strong, they're gonna have huge muscles, maybe tiny legs, and a tiny head. This caricature style approach to how the character looks based on what you choose really stuck with me, and it also resulted in a very unique looking character. Of course, you can change the color of the fur and the type of fur that they have, but what really makes it stand out to me is the way their proportions change based on their starting stats. What brings this home is that even though you do start with a certain build, you're not locked into that build. You get to decide how your character grows when you get a level up. So if you start with a high intellect character with their gigantic brain, you can still give them strength to make them hit really hard. And maybe your made up story for that is that their mutation resulted in super powered yet super small muscles. I don't know. The point I'm trying to make is that the game gives you a lot of room to tell your own story with the character they give you. You can dress them up in the things you find on your journey, and you can make them look the way you want them to look. So while it may not have scored really well, if you're interested in the way this game looks and you're excited to play an open world like this, I would say give Biomutant a shot. I also encourage you to find other reviewers to see what they're saying about the game as well. I just wanted to offer a more positive outlook on the game because I know it's getting kind of slammed right now, but there are good things about Biomutant. I also have full confidence that this could be another No Man's Sky, where it's one game at launch and it looks almost totally different 6 months to a year later. No Man's Sky went through a complete overhaul, and people celebrate that game very hard right now. So I'm just saying, it's not impossible for a game to come back from bad reviews. Bad reviews aside, Biomutant sold pretty well at launch, so if you've played this game, which it's likely that you did, do me a favor and let me know in the comments what you like about it. If you like this video, do me a favor and like it. If you really like this video, make sure you subscribe, because this is an example of when I defend games that got badly reviewed. It's something I like doing. It's kind of good for me to just look at games and be positive about them. It makes me feel nice, and I think that people need more of that. So I make videos like this. And if you want to support my channel, the best thing you can do is share this video with a friend who's been considering Biomutant. Maybe they want to see some good things about the game, and that is why I am here. So make sure you stay safe out there in the animal-ruled post-apocalyptic Earth, and I will see you in the next video. Gotta have your coffee when you talk about games. You gotta have it. Ooh, yeah. Gotta have... Oh! Drop my Pokeball.